Hi guys, this week my mom is back and this time she's sharing how she makes her roti. And she makes the best roti. It's so light and fluffy and full of so many layers. And I figured since she's here, I might as well let her get in front of the camera and share her technique. In the last video, she shared how she made her mitai. And I will leave the link to that video below so you can go and check it out if you're interested. Now let's get started. The first step is to mix all the dry ingredients together. And she's added baking powder and salt to all-purpose flour. And then she's going to mix it together with her hand to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. Once that's done, she's going to make a well in the middle and add water and mix to form a dough. Roti is a pretty simple recipe and requires just a few ingredients, but the technical part of it is what makes the difference. And I thought it was important for her to show how she makes it because she does it so well. To be honest, I use her recipe, and while it's good, it's not as great as hers. That's why I thought I wanted to share her technique, and hopefully it can help some of you as well. Now, as you can see, she's rolled it into a pretty soft dough, and then she'll turn this out onto a floured surface and just knead it until it's nice and smooth. And you guys, the ball is this big because she made 15 rotis. The recipe I'm going to share with you on the blog will make approximately 6 medium-sized roti. And as you can see, she's kneading the dough, and in doing so, she's incorporated some of the flour into the dough until it's no longer sticky and it's nice and smooth. Once you have a nice smooth ball of dough, you're going to let this sit in a bowl covered for about 15 minutes just so that the gluten relaxes, and it's going to be easier to roll out in the next step. Next, she's going to mix vegetable shortening with oil, and you can either use shortening or ghee. The choice is yours. She's going to use this mixture between the layers of the roti and also to oil it as it cooks. She's using a spoon to break up the shortening into smaller pieces, just so it mixes a little bit with the oil. Now that the dough has rested, she's going to separate the dough into equal pieces, and you'll see how she's going to break it down. She's going to cut it in half, and then each piece she's going to continue to cut in half until she gets the size that she desires. The very first video that I shared on this channel was a roti recipe. And I'm going to link it just so you guys can see how I did it versus how she does it. So be sure to check that out in the description box as well. As you can see, she's continuing to cut the pieces in half. Doing it this way ensures that each roti is going to be the same size. Also, if you take a look at the dough, you're going to notice how soft and pliable it is. This means that the roti is going to be pretty soft. Next, she is rolling it, and I have to slow it down just a bit just so you guys can see her technique as she rolls it into these balls. Now that she's all done with this step, the next thing she's going to do is roll it out in order to oil the roti. On a floured surface, she flattens the dough and she rolls it out, and as you can see, she rolls, flips it, roll it a little bit more, and keep flipping it just so it doesn't stick. And this step is pretty crucial in the end result of the roti. As you notice, she's rolling it pretty thin. The thinner that you roll it, the more layers you're going to create. Next, she's going to add the oil and shortening mixture and brush it all around, all the way to the ends. Once this cooks up, the layers of the roti will separate and it will create those nice, soft, leafy pages of roti that we love. She's using a brush to brush the shortening mixture on, and then she's going to sprinkle it with flour, cut it, and then roll it. What she explains is that you want to loosely roll this, so be sure not to do it too tight once you do this step. And as you can see, this process gets pretty messy. There's a little bit of flour on her clothes. But as one of my followers said, are you really making roti if there's no flour on your clothes? And this is what you want the rolls to look like. So sometimes it takes a little bit of practice, but it's fairly easy. As you can see, she's using her hand because this is just a lot faster. If you follow me along on Instagram at Jehan Can Cook, Then you also saw her cut the dough with her finger, which I thought was genius. Roti is one of my favorite dishes, and anytime my mom comes to town, I always request for her to make some. Sometimes I ask her to make extra so that I can freeze it, and roti freezes extremely well. To defrost it, I wrap it in damp paper towel and pop it into the microwave and do it on 30-second increments just until it's warm. Let the dough rest for about 30 minutes before rolling. She's going to roll it out on a floured surface before placing it on a hot tawa to cook. As you can see, she's rolling it pretty thin and into a circle. Someone sent me a DM saying the only Guyanese roti is square, and I was blown away because I've never seen or had a square Guyanese roti. Let me know below how you make your roti. Do you make it square or do you make it round? And as you can see, she is getting ready to cook it, and she's gonna let that side cook, then flip it, brush it with the shortening and oil mixture, flip it, then brush the other side, and this just takes maybe about 2 to 3 minutes to cook. This is a very quick process, and my mom typically doesn't like to have too many brown spots in her roti because, as she explains, that the brown spots makes it hard once it cools, but it's totally up to you. If you love your roti brown, then cook it that way. If you prefer to be a little bit softer, then cook it the way in which she does. This is food, and I think it's important to do things the way in which you like and experiment, so just have fun with it. Next is to clap the roti, and she's doing this with her hands. As you can see, it's hot. Steam is being released. Personally, I use a bowl and shake it. Let me know below how you do this step. Clapping the roti releases all the layers and makes it nice and fluffy. And honestly, doing it by hand is the best method. I am having this with some chicken curry, and this recipe is on the channel. I will leave the link to this below as well. And that's pretty much it. As you can see, it was very easy. She did a great job. Look at how leafy and soft it is. It's absolutely delicious, you guys. I promise you will not be disappointed. As always, I will leave the link to this recipe in the description box. This leads to my blog, jehancancook.com, where I share this recipe and many more like this. I will see you guys next time, and I hope you've enjoyed this video.